Good evening, friend. Well, I went on a walk this evening and I was listening to Edward Art, and I tell you, something really big clicked for me. It's not like I haven't listened to his series over and over multiple times, right? But tonight, just through a series of experiences that I've been having most recently, I guess the best way to put it is just continuing to bump up against contrast has led me to what I think is one of the maybe the most profound realizations that I've had since finding and implementing these teachings. And so I'm feeling really excited about what I'm going to share with you tonight. Now, I'm going to read to you part 5 of Edward Art's series called Imagining is Fun. I think that it's incredibly foundational in what we're doing with these teachings and how we're implementing them in our daily life. And getting this one down, really feeling it, is, I think it's just, it's key. So this is, so I'm just going to start. I'm just going to dive right in. Okay. Thoughts come from your feeling. Do you understand what that means? Truly, do you see how that changes everything? This means that all those thoughts of fear, all those thoughts of what bad things could happen, all the thoughts of what if it never happened, every one of them comes from the feeling. If you are truly honest with yourself and you take an objective, critical examination of your mind, ask yourself this: where are these thoughts coming from? In other words, what is generating these thoughts? The moment a thought sparks fear into you, the moment a thought that sparks fear into you happens, if you pay close attention, very close attention, and slow it all down, you will notice that it was not the thought that happened first. It was your feeling of fear that happened first. This is so difficult to notice, but if you pay attention, you will see it. What does this all mean then, and why is it important? Okay. This is crucial because if it is the feeling that is the cause of the thought, then that means the thought has no power of its own. That means the thought has no truth in itself. That means the thought is created. It means that if you change your feeling, all the thoughts necessary for you to think for your bridge of incidents are already laid out for you. It means you don't have to worry if you're having the right thoughts or if you are saying the right things in your mind. No more trying to think perfectly. Oh my gosh. I'm just excited because I want to read some more of this out, and then I want to talk about how this, how I'm perceiving this. So, let's see here. Okay. I'm going to jump past a little part, but Edward goes on to say that a belief is just a feeling. It feels true. From that position, you think in the nature of those thoughts. So change the word belief to feeling. Think only in terms of these: creating, feeling, and thinking. You create the feeling you want, and from that, thoughts come. That is a state. Remove this idea that beliefs are hard to change and they are blockages in your subconscious, because beliefs are nothing more than feelings that you've attached power to, right? You've attached meaning and importance to that belief, and you've disguised a feeling as a thought. And you, in doing that, because I'm realizing this for myself, in doing that, I think then that it's hard to change, right? But it's not, because it's a feeling. So the resistance must be conquered and all of that. Like, that's a thought. You are just making this far more complicated to free yourself in your own mind. Oh, yes, I have been. I have been, but now it is your mind, and you can do and feel what you like. You are creating all your blockages, and you are creating the difficulty of removing them. Now change the word belief to feeling, because the word belief sounds too difficult to change. But once you understand a belief is merely a feeling, just like desiring is just a feeling, the idea of changing a feeling sounds completely achievable, right? Because in the end, that is all that must be changed, because from there, you think thoughts in correlation with the very nature of the feeling. What you feel to be true is self. And there is nothing to change but self. Feeling is everything. Oh my gosh. Fearful feeling gives birth to fearful thoughts. Oh man, ain't that the truth? If you change your feeling, you would simply see there is no truth in your fearful thoughts. The only reason why you believe them to be true is simply because you feel it. Friend, I want to talk a little bit about how this is making so much sense to me, and how I have been so I was thinking about this on the walk home, and I was thinking, yes, I can see where I've been applying thoughts that I have beliefs around, and how, okay, like for instance, anything that's unwanted, right, has feelings attached to it. And what Edward is saying here is that it's the feelings that have come first, and then we've built or drawn thoughts that just come, they build momentum, they draw their own thought streams. So if you're feeling unwanted feelings, you're going to reap unwanted thoughts. And those thoughts are going to make everything feel more solid and solidified than what they really are. And so, just to give you an example of how I have been doing this in my own experience. Let's see. Okay, so I guess a really good example would be my relationship. So let's say that I have a feeling about something, and then the thoughts that follow on those feelings, those thoughts are there to anchor that feeling into place. And that's when I say things like, when we justify our anger, when we defend our strong negative feelings about a person or a situation, that anchors that feeling, that belief into place. And for me, I hold it into my body. A lot of people do. That's why we have such strong reactions at times, because of a thing that we're perceiving, and we're activating the anchored belief, which is nothing more than a feeling. But then we have all these thoughts that rally around it and say, yes, that's right. You should be angry, and he's, acting like an a-hole, and this situation sucks, and that kind of thing. So those thoughts, they just come perfectly to anchor in that belief, that feeling, place that you're having. And that's why Edwards says there's nothing to change but the self. Because the self is, I guess for a better way to put it, is feeling. It's not a state. We're beingness, right? We're the I am, we're consciousness. And consciousness is not intelligent. It's, or maybe it is consciousness is intelligent, and it is present fact, being. So, because we're more than a state, right? Because states can be changed depending on what you're giving yourself. Okay, so hang in there with me, because I'm going to dig a little deeper on this. So let's give an example. Edward says, you are laying in bed, and then the thought of someone breaking into your house enters your mind. Then you feel fear, and then the thought starts to feel real to you. Then you worry if you will manifest that into your life. Now, I've done that, not with that particular thought, but that, that basic premise. I've done that with different things. Then you worry if you will manifest that into your life. Then you try to find the underlying belief, and then you randomly pick some belief that makes sense. Maybe you think of memories from your childhood, teenage years, and then you try to create a new belief to replace the old ones. So repeat, I am safe in my house, I am safe in my house, right? You repeat this over and over, trying to get yourself to believe this. Maybe you will feel a bit relieved tonight, but tomorrow it will happen again, and the cycle continues. And, I want to comment on that, because that's what we're doing when we're trying to change the thought instead of the feeling. And is Gigi trying to get into the house? Like, Sage, can you open the door for him, please? Thank you, honey. So, if you're trying to change a belief, a feeling, using your thoughts, oh my God, that is so hard to do. That is like the opposite of what Edward Art is talking about and Neville Goddard is talking about. The key is the feeling. Feeling is the key. And I feel a little dense that it's, like I'm not trying to be mean to myself or anything, but sometimes I'm just like, as I'm just feeling this wash over me and recognizing it, feeling it, it makes perfect sense because I've been trying to intellectualize these teachings. Because why? Because I am in my head all the time thinking, right? And grappling with my feelings, thinking I can think my way out of what I'm feeling into a better feeling place by thinking. But my thoughts aren't what does that. And that's what's been catching me up over and over and over, causing me problems. So if I get mad at my partner, or if I get mad at an observable what is in my life, like a project that's not moving as quickly as I would like, or if it's not where I would like it to be, I am trying to change my thoughts about it, not realizing that that's not where my power is. My power is changing the feeling, which changes the self. So when I said a few days back, I simply assume that I am and attach nothing unwanted, that means I simply assume the feeling, not the thought, that I am. I assume the feeling that I am, which is a huge revelation for me because I am constantly having thinky thoughts all the time, just trying to think my way out of everything. I've even been trying to fool myself into thinking that I'm feeling my way, or giving myself what I want with thoughts, which has just been why it hasn't shifted into the most effective potential for me, because you change self by changing how you're feeling then creates bridges of incidences, right? And it attracts those thoughts that are connected to those feelings. So if we're looping in a lot of unwanted thought streams, that's, for me, that's why I have felt stuck. That's why I have continually felt like I move forward and then I slide back, which has been incredibly frustrating to me, to feel like I'm making progress and feeling really good, right? Only to get, hit sideways with something that evokes these anchored feelings, these anchored beliefs and feelings, and activates these thought streams. And then I'm right back in the swirling storm of it, okay? So how do we change our feeling from something that is unwanted, especially if it's been habitually patterned, unwanted feeling states of what you're what you seem to slide back to again and again and again, feeling wise, unwanted feeling. How do we change what we're feeling? How do we change in the moments of strong negative emotion what we're feeling when it feels bad, when it doesn't feel good, when not only it doesn't feel good, all these thoughts just glom onto your focus and attention and start narrating all these stories of judgment and defensiveness and how you need to be right and how you know you're right and you're, yada yada. I mean, it's just, it can go on and on and on. So it really just boils down to, how do we give ourselves a better feeling so that we're not drawing unwanted thoughts to us? Because you don't change the thought. You change the feeling that changes the thoughts that then will come. And it will happen. It's just that, it's that little part, changing the feeling, or the belief that has anchored feeling in it, right? So, let's see, gosh, I'm just so excited about this. If I were to change my feeling, all those thoughts would cease. And just like the robber thought happened naturally, I would think from the new feeling naturally, because the new feeling would draw to it thoughts of like, right? So you don't have to be fearful or afraid of your own thoughts, because it's not your thoughts that are the issue. It's your feeling that's drawing thoughts to it. It's supporting thoughts that come to support the feeling. And that ties you into a new state, or a state of beingness, right? So, then understand that it is all happening in your mind. Realize you can feel safe in your mind. You can feel entirely confident and safe in your mind. Then remind yourself of this truth. I can feel safe here, in here. In here, I am entirely safe. This is feeling. Then start to feel that. Just feel it. Don't question it, or reason it, or think it. Just feel. Why just feel? Here's why. Remember, we think from our feelings. This is how we know if we are in a state. So just feel and feel and feel. Give yourself entirely to the feeling, because the feeling is your end. Then you will naturally think from that position, and there is no work on your part. So, so he goes on to say, so bring yourself back to the Creator. Stop identifying yourself with the thoughts and understand they are coming from the feeling. From this, you simply change your feeling to what you want to feel. So, your answer to what you should do and feel is always in your wants. To truly change your feeling, it must be a feeling you deeply, deeply want to feel. And I think that's really the important little movement there, is that if you're having thoughts that are unwanted because you have some anchored feelings, some anchored beliefs, you have some beliefs that are nothing but feelings, and they're anchored by the thoughts that have now come and surrounded it. You must take care in choosing new feelings. And Edward says this in all bold caps. To truly change your feeling, it must be a feeling you deeply, deeply want to feel. You cannot be too lazy-daisical about this part, because otherwise you're not going to change the belief. You're not going to change the feeling that has all these thoughts around it, anchoring the feeling into your state of being, into your narrative, right? So you have to choose and identify and choose the thoughts, or the feelings that you really, really deeply want to feel. That's going to bring the thoughts, the new states that will come and anchor around that feeling, that will become a new state of being for you. And that is where everything changes. It changes everything, because now your thoughts are coming in to work for you instead of against you. You're going to be feeling the difference in your state of beingness, right? You're giving yourself what you want. But you're doing it in feeling. So Edward goes on to say, I must stress that if you sincerely feel what you have always wanted to feel, you will naturally think from that position. That is a state. That is living in the end. It is all feelings. It cannot be something that you semi-want, kind of sort of want, that will never change you. It will change for a bit, but you will never commit to it. It must be a feeling you are yearning for. And then he gives an example of his old self. And I could read this, but I really, really recommend going to Reddit and reading it, or listening to it being read by Lila on Nevolution. It's part 5. Imagination is fun. This is why, and I'm just going to read this last little part. Oh, I should just read it all to you. This is not going to be a short video anyways, right? You guys are probably used to that by now anyways. So, example from my own self. This is Edward Art. I used to be critical on myself in my mind in a negative way. Not healthy. I would call myself names and put myself down in my mind. I would consistently feel guilty for what I have done or what I might do. I thought it was impossible to fix because I tried so hard and nothing changed me. Or if it did, it would only last a week and I am back to feeling like shit and talking down to myself. I would naturally think of punishments coming my way. Superstitious thinking, right? And I would try to change those thoughts to change my feelings. Hello. Yes, I get that. I would rationalize my way out for hours. Oh my God, I get that so much. To only find myself entering a new cave, My gut always had this underlying feeling of tension. I tried my best to give myself relief, but like I said, I could not find relief for more than a week, maybe a month here and there. I wanted relief, but I could not, I wanted relief, but everything I did just did not work. I would do SATs and replay the scene over and over, mental diet all day. When it comes to this stuff, you name it, I tried it, and me too. Just trying to do it from my mind, with my thinking mind, my rational, thinking my way through it it doesn't get you far. It feels like you're getting somewhere, but it's clearly not the key. It's not the same. But over time, I realized I was attacking thoughts, right? He makes a Matrix reference here. The Agent Smiths in my mind, not the actual cause. The truth is, you can think anything in your mind, but most importantly, you can feel anything in your mind. You can actually feel what you want. I do not mean just a basic want, like, I am loved. That is good. But don't you want to feel more than that? Neville said, don't tell me what you don't want. Tell me what you want. What do you want? Just a bit of love? Or do you really want to feel like you are the most loved being in all of existence? And there is nothing but love in your mind, and everyone in your mind cherishes you and desires deeply to help you in your life. And you don't have to feel anything to receive this amount of love. Why not feel that? Because of what? Fear? You are afraid to feel that? If you don't feel that, you are rejecting yourself from that experience. So do not complain when the world rejects you of it. Free yourself in your mind entirely. Stop caring if it will happen or what will happen. Reality is your mind. It reflects self. Now, and I get that because, growing up, I was always told the world doesn't revolve around you. You're not the center of attention. You're not the center of this universe. You know what? That's bullshit. This world does revolve around me. The world that I'm experiencing does revolve around me. And not just, what I'm thinking. It begins with what I'm feeling. And if I'm feeling like I am the most loved, most important, most valuable part of the universe, what thoughts do you think are going to come in and join me in that feeling? Automatically. We don't have to relegate the thoughts. We don't have to try to push the boulder up the hill with thought. We just have to give ourselves feeling. And the thoughts that are connected to those feelings join us automatically without any effort on our part. They will come. They will come without effort, without exertion, without pushing. Because that's the nature of that thing. It's not, it's the law. It's like gravity. Gravity keeps us where we're at on this planet. We're not floating around like we would be if we were in outer space with no gravity. The thoughts come to us through the feelings that we give ourselves. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that feel so much better to think that it can be that easy? It can be that easy to give ourselves what we want by choosing how we're going to feel. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this last bit up. Now that I'm feeling what I want to feel, what I have always wanted to feel, I find myself having difficulty criticizing myself, right? Because those thoughts wouldn't be drawn to you. They wouldn't be drawn to the feeling if you have established a new feeling state that you have given to yourself, right? So whenever I have an old thought come up, I just don't feel it or fear it at all, right? Because an old state, whenever I have an old thought come up, that thought it's like an echo. It's not real. It's not who you are. It's not the truth of you. And so it will die. And the new feelings that you've given yourself will begin to draw true thoughts to you. Okay? It's just that simple. True thoughts will come to you through the feelings that you are giving to yourself. And so that is how I know that all fear was an illusion. It always has been. I cannot seriously sit down and talk down to myself anymore, especially not after the Pharaoh meditation. I am making myself king in my mind. I don't have time to talk down to myself. I love seeing how because he's exalting the self. He's talking about what we're supposed to do. Feelings exalt the self, the I am. That's how you worship. The truth of you, the I am, is exalted by the feeling that you give to yourself. And as a result, you're rewarded by what comes to you naturally and automatically by doing that. I love seeing how myself is being reflected too. People are seeing me in a whole different way because I am seeing myself entirely different. He's seeing himself entirely different because he's feeling himself entirely different. And then the thoughts are joining, and those things are being expressed and projected back into the seen world, and that becomes a tangible experience in the 3D world, right? Experiential evidence begins to happen. The bridges of incidents begin to effortlessly unfold right in front of you. You're not building those bridges with anything other than feeling. So, I just love this. I am seeing myself how I want to see myself because I can. So can you. This should be so much fun, too. I was speaking with a good friend yesterday and we were laughing about this. He asked, so what do you do when you are speaking with someone and you don't want to listen to them? I said, I imagine what I want. Now, truth is, I sometimes get annoyed. It is only human. But I have a mind. Then he said, so you just hear them saying, you are so awesome, you are the greatest. And I said, if that is what I want to hear, yes. LOL, right? It always comes down to my wants in my mind. I want to fulfill all of them. That is my goal. Excuse my cursing, but I fucking hate living in desire. I know this is a long post, Listen to these words. Feel everything you want, and the thoughts will come. It is fun. It is only fun if you imagine and feel what you want. It is not fun trying to get it, or worse, and this is me saying this, trying to think it through, trying to manifest or checking the world to see if it is growing. Growth, getting what you want, experiencing what you want is within. It's all within. So, Edward Art ends this post with a Neville Goddard quote. You don't have to sit down and burst a blood vessel, pounding out the details of your desire. You can imagine as you walk down the street. A simple assumption is easy and can be lots of fun. Neville. Feeling is the secret. Neville. Feeling is the secret. OMG. Like, I don't have to burst a blood vessel to give myself what I want. So this is great because when I hear something unwanted from, let's just say, my partner, because he's been the most amazing mirror for me, because if I didn't love him so much, I wouldn't get so angry and hurt, feeling hurt by not feeling like I was receiving from him what I wanted, right? But when I stop trying to manipulate my words and my thoughts towards what I wanted, and I just started giving myself what I wanted through my feeling self, everything changed. Everything, the way that we interact together is always it feels good. And I always know when we're in a good feeling, stay with one another, because it always feels, I don't know what else to say other than it feels good. It feels like love. It feels like understanding. And so when I was thinking, those times when we would miscommunicate, or I just wasn't understanding him or he wasn't understanding me, and I would feel offended, that was nothing more than a belief, a feeling belief that was being anchored by all these thoughts that would come rushing in. And they were mostly criticism, judgment, being offended, feeling defensive. And who doesn't have this in relationships? At some point or another. It's not to hold on to these feelings, these beliefs that, he never listens to me, or he just doesn't understand, or the list can go on in any different direction. My point is that what the universe has been trying to wake me up to, the awareness of I am capable of changing how I feel. Oh, that's an owl. Ooh. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, he's really out there doing his business. I don't know if you can hear that, but that was pretty spectacular. So, I am perfect awareness. And through that perfect awareness, I am able to feel exactly how I want to feel. I can give myself whatever feelings I want to feel. And when I do that, the thoughts that support those feelings come to me, whether they are wanted or unwanted. That law is perfect. It's going to myself, right? The self is going to give me whatever I give to it. And sooner or later, it knew I was going to wake up enough to be like, oh, I can give myself what I want. And I can receive that back. And I can experience it in this outer world. And I can let myself off the hook. And I can stop making it harder than it has to be. Because I think what this is all getting at is that we're making the choice to have a feeling come up, and then instead of being aware, the I am perfect awareness of what this is, and then giving ourselves what we truly want to give ourselves, we have practiced giving ourselves what we don't want. And as a result, it doesn't feel good. And a whole bunch of, unpleasantness ensues. And that's why Edward Art is always saying, be gentle with yourself. Give yourself the most lovely thoughts that you can. Because only you can do that. Only you can give yourself the loveliest feelings that you can. And those feelings are going to generate and draw to you the loveliest thoughts possible. And those thoughts are going to bring bridges of incidences that move you in your life experience to more of what you want than what you don't want. And that's, I don't know about you, friend, but for me, this is huge. This is like the 4th of July fireworks, right? This feels like such a huge realization of how I can now move into this new state of being and feeling and giving myself exactly what I want, and not feeling stuck, and not feeling like I move ahead a few paces and then slide back again and again and again, being frustrated. And honestly, I am so relieved. I'm so relieved to finally feel like I've climbed to a mountaintop. And it's taken me most of my life to get to the top of this damn mountain. And it feels so good. This beautiful vista all around me. And now everything is wide open, right? Because when you get to the top of the mountain, what do you do now? Well, you enjoy it. You enjoy that you made it to the top of the mountain. And now you get to decide, what do you do for the rest of your life? Keep giving yourself what you want to feel, how you want to feel, and everything else will open up before you. And nothing is outside of your possibility for you. Nothing is outside of you. You can have, do, or be whatever you want. I truly believe that. But you have to feel it. You have to really feel that that's what you want for that to be able to come into play. And that's what we're here to do, is to play, to imagine, to have fun, to feel good, to free ourselves, and to free each other. Because this world is perfect just the way it is. And there's nothing to fix. There's only self. And what are we giving to ourselves? That's the only true change that matters. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being present with me. Thank you for listening and feeling. And I think it's going to get easier from here on out. Like, it just feels true. It's just going to get easier and easier. I'm gonna end this Cry Fest with a little bit of sound from my singing bowl, my Tibetan singing bowl, because it's so beautiful and I love it. And I think it's a beautiful way to close this. That feels good. Till we talk again, friend.